Welcome to Vietnam Vets Speaks Out. This channel was inspired by Oliver Anthony and Deion Sanders. Now give me my theme music. I wanted to jump on real quick and tell you about a podcast that Jordan Peterson did with Oliver Anthony about a week ago. I just want to make sure you're aware of it because it's a very interesting podcast. It's about 2 hours long, so you're going to have to set aside some time to listen to it. But I think the things that they discussed are very important for you to hear about.
Saying that this is necessarily the case with you, but I'd like to talk about it with you. They're afraid that their mere art isn't good enough given the importance, let's say, of all the political and maybe religious upheaval there is in the world. But I actually don't think that's true. I don't think, like, I've gone to a lot of concerts and I've watched the kind of quasi-religious nature of a great concert. And I actually don't think there's anything more important that an artist can do than, for in your situation, for example, is to give the best damn concert you possibly can, and I can see you're torn between that to some degree, because you say, well, you don't want to go and shout out a bunch of lyrics so that people can get drunk and go home. But then that what you've done has spoken to many people very deeply all around the world, and that what you've done was a genuine expression of what you really believe to be true. And I would say that if you go to a concert and what you do is you really sing what you believe to be true, there actually is no better service that you can possibly do to people, no matter what it is that you're doing. Like, I don't think there is anything, except for what's truly religious, I don't think there is anything that supersedes genuine art, not in terms of potency and truth. And I think you're seeing that because of what happened in relationship to your song. And I think that's also partly because of that other point you made, which is, and the same with the song about sobriety, is you're actually writing your songs. I think Hank Williams did this, and Johnny Cash too, unbelievably effectively. The genuine songwriters, they're not writing to max out the algorithm, and they don't have contempt for the audience. That's not what I mean. But they're not doing it for their own fame. They're doing it to express something approximating the truth in the way that they see fit. With you, that's obviously going to be musical. So one of the things I would say is, don't be thinking there's any higher purpose you can serve than the genuineness that you bring to your art, man. Good musicians I think people die without good music. It's so important. We have no idea how important it is.
Yeah,
how
I agree.
Key it is to humans.
It's obvious to me that music is, every culture that we know of, whether they're, music is something that manifests itself in any society. And the more that people suffer, the more they lean on music, Some of the best music's been written in the worst of times. So I definitely agree, like there's an element of healing to it. And one thing that I've noticed about the music industry, just now that I'm in the business, one of the things I've noticed is that we prioritize, as with a lot of things in art now, like we prioritize through the system of the music industry, we prioritize what can make the most money and not necessarily what can resonate with the most people or what's the most genuine and authentic. And so, like, in country music, now, I loved 90s country music as a kid. I remember riding with my parents and my grandpa and listening to, the Alan Jacksons and George Straits and Bubba Shot the Jukebox. And, like, those are just fun, like, just good songs. But somewhere country music, and I think music in general, has really lost a connection with people because it's become too commercialized and not enough about. And so that's kind of like, yeah, so I've turned down a lot of offers. The latest one I saw was 100 million. That's certainly not the case, but yeah, I have had millions of dollars thrown at me, and I've had everything thrown at me the last couple of weeks. And But I guess the reason why I want to stay on my own path is that I'd like to inspire other musicians to do the same thing. You know, like the story of kind of how all this came about is just, I mean, most of the music's from my Android phone that I, just recorded, put it on YouTube. I ripped the WAV file, uploaded it. There's a service called DistroKid you can use. You pay like a nominal fee annually. They don't take any of the money, and it automatically puts it on all the platforms for you: Spotify, Pandora, Apple, YouTube Music. Like, I would like to see more people do what it is I did. Like, I'd like, if anything, I'd like it to inspire other artists to not worry about going through a record label or worry about trying to find a big booking agency, but just focus more on creating whatever it is you feel compelled to create and get it out there, and not worry about everything else. Because obviously that's what we're so desperate. I mean, like, even just the phenomenon with podcasts in the last 5 years, like the fact that people can sit here and listen to us talk for an hour and a half so intently. And like, that's been me. I listen to podcasts all day long. People are just, at this point, desperate for authenticity and desperate to connect with other human beings on a level that we haven't been able to connect on very well in the last 10 years because of.
So, the video that I made the other day about Oliver Anthony destroying the music industry appears to have been somewhat prescient, because he's saying he'd like to inspire other artists to do the same thing that he's done, which is to bypass the music industry and go straight to the end user, the consumers of his music, and let them hear his music, and he makes money off of it without having the music industry in there to screw it up. I think this whole interview is very fascinating. I think you'll learn a great deal about who Oliver Anthony is, what he really cares about, and what his plans are for the future. So I'll put the link in the description below so that you can listen to it when you have time. As always, I hope that your family will be doing well. I pray that God will bless you and your people that you love and cause you to have great abundance. And I want to close with one of my favorite verses, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That's Philippians 4, 6, and 7. This is the Vietnam Vet, signing out.